He's just not my loss, he's everyone's loss. Even people that didn't know him.
It's been 18 days since 15-year-old Perth teenager Cassius was allegedly chased and bashed with a metal pole. He was simply walking home from school in his uniform with a group of mates.
He always brought the spirit, always brought happiness at the school, but now everyone's kind of just lost themselves now that he's gone.
Over the weekend, more than 1,000 people gathered to honour Cassius and mourn the senseless loss of a young life.
I get so angry, but all this stuff in between is just healing for our mom and healing for our community, black and white.
Cassius's mother, Mechelle, thanking the Prime Minister for making this statement last week.
This is just a terrible tragedy. And this attack that clearly is racially motivated just breaks your heart.
The words the whole country has been waiting for, they're just words, but they mean so much to us. It's like, oh, you're on the same page as our hearts.
There are more than 30 vigils planned across Australia and overseas to honour a boy who had his whole life ahead of him.
Cassius is my nephew. I cannot tell you enough how important the vigils will be this week. We'll be seeing people turning out in record numbers across Australia.
We've had young lads all over the country in the same situation as what's happened with this young Turvey boy.
People think that we're getting better. Oh, we've come so far. There's never action, there's only talk. It's disgusting. I'm so angry.
We want an end to violence. We want an end to the racism that allegedly murdered Cassius.
Tonight, at Midland Oval in Perth, where Cassius used to play with friends, a vigil planned to coincide with Halloween, his favourite night of the year.
This stuff shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen regardless of what your culture is, nationality, religion. It shouldn't happen at all.
Enough's enough. They're bloody sick of it.
We're joined now by Cassius's mum, Mechelle, and Megan Krakouer, a friend of the family who's also organising rallies this week. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Mechelle, obviously, there's nothing I can say that will register the gravity of this and do justice to the grief that you feel. Can only say that we're so sorry for your loss and begin by asking you how you're coping.
It is my loss, but it's also your loss and everyone in the country and Cassius' community, family and friends. That's the message I've been putting out because my husband only passed away and I buried him last month, and this extra grief with Cassius's death, and I know mourning is a hard gig to do, but I'm feeling the love. I really am.
Must be hard dealing with something that's so incredibly private, but it's something that the entire country is doing with you. Does that make it easier or even harder?
It's making it easier actually, because it's affected so many people, but also affected strangers as well. And I want to put a lot of focus on the community spirit, and you know, I'm sure down the track I'm definitely going to be getting more involved in the community and making sure that our young ones are cared for, and a lot of education and awareness.
Mechelle, and I hope this is not too painful to ask, but can you tell us a bit more about Cassius, what sort of boy he was?
Cassius has always been very vibrant, he's cheeky, he's got a beautiful smile, which most of the country have seen in the photographs and things like that. He always wanted to work and do really well at school. Just a few days when he was in hospital, a few days after he was supposed to go and represent up at Roy Hill on a tasting training program, which he never got to go to, unfortunately. He was supposed to start work at Kmart while he was in hospital as well, so, yeah.
Megan, you're organising some of the vigils this week. Have you been surprised by the outpouring of grief we've seen around Australia?
Oh, it's been incredible. I mean, we've got 34 rallies and vigils planned right across the country, starting from tonight, leading into Wednesday. The support has been absolutely incredible, from small country towns to bigger country towns, the cities, black, white, brown. It's just been amazing in that sense. So many people wanting to come on board, and I think that's testament to the way that Michelle's conducted herself in the media and the way that she's remained calm and kind and compassionate. It's basically reaching into the hearts and souls of many people right across the country.
It's also testament, I think, to just how much Cassius was loved and just how much this seems to mean for the Indigenous community, obviously, and a lot of people beyond that as well. Megan, can you give us a sense of the depth of the meaning for those people?
We all know the colour of our skin, whether we're black or white or brown, but my son didn't see that. His friends were all of those colours, and yeah, he just seen people as people. That's pretty much the same for me as well. People are people. I love equality. You know, I was sharing a little yarn with Megan the other day. We should all look like Martians. We all have the impression of a Martian must be green. I wish we were all green. So then we didn't really have that difference. We were all the same, and that's how it should be.
I mean, it's a very cruel and callous and brutal act that's happened to young Cassius. This is an opportunity to change the narrative when it comes to racism, discrimination, which still very much is alive and well across the country. And we are all brothers and sisters of the human family, but what we do need to do is we need to put more education into community. We also need to ensure that laws are strengthened to ensure that racial violence is not tolerated. There's been stories right across Noongar country and in fact right across the country where young people have been chased on curbs and, you know, young kids hiding in the bushes and, you know, the mistrust for the police and not being able to report. Some people are being placed in hospital because of the violent attacks. So, you know, we need to say no to violence, no to racism, no to discrimination.
Mechelle, Megan, thank you so much for being prepared to speak to us. Let's hope the response that you're seeing brings, I don't know, some kind of tranquility to your heart, some strength to your cause. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.